Previously, Yang Cheng transformed, looking ready to take on the boss. But before he could react, the boss landed a single powerful blow, lifting him off the ground before tossing him harshly to the floor. As his guild members fled in fear, a woman rushed to help, but one of the members warned her, "It's too late." At that moment, Shen stepped forward, prepared to confront the boss. The two exchanged determined glances, ready to engage. The boss smirked, confident that his earlier attack had taken its toll, while Shen simply smiled back. Now to this week's chapter. He laughs, saying he just needed the boss to stop moving so he could lock on, as the phantoms take aim and charge their skills. They unleash the 7-star flaming arrow, sending 14 arrows streaking toward the boss. Just as he looks up, he sees all the arrows hurtling toward him at incredible speed. It dawns on him what Shen meant by keeping him still. The boss reacts instantly, shoving Shen aside as he sees the arrows closing in fast. He activates his abilities and begins to disappear once more, angered at how easily Shen had cornered him, as the last arrows from the phantoms explode into the ground. As the dust settles, laughter echoes in the air, and the boss turns to see Shen, the source of the amusement. Anger wells up inside him at the sight. Their eyes lock, and Shen smirks, teasing the boss about whether he's enjoying the fun he set up for himself. It's clear that some arrows have struck him, revealing that he hadn't activated his skill quickly enough. Looking down at Shen, he understands he's being mocked, and fury ignites his resolve to hold nothing back. The system displays his HP, now down to 2,780. Shen stands up, sensing the killing intent radiating from the boss, but he ignores it and continues to mock him. With a grin, he informs the boss that his phantoms have already set traps all around them, smirking as he adds that it'll be tough for the boss to use his speed now. As he continues, he challenges the boss, questioning who will be the last one standing. With a mischievous grin, he starts to eat the high-grade crocodile meat he obtained earlier. The system announces twice that he has consumed the meat, granting him an increase of 200 to his health and 20 to his magic. His eyes glow bright red, an aura radiating from him as fury builds at the sight of Shen casually eating, as if the boss were nothing more than an easy level 5 monster. He realizes that his pride as the leader of the hidden bosses is being challenged. In response, he shifts into hunting mode. Shen wipes his mouth after eating, only to notice the boss start to disappear. He is caught off guard and wonders whether the boss is casting an invisibility spell in order to figure out what is going on. As he considers the nature of the skill, a shadow appears behind him, signaling that the boss has began his hunt. But it's too late. Shen senses the boss's presence and turns to look back, struggling to comprehend how the boss appeared behind him. Realizing he can't block the impending attack, he braces himself for impact. The boss's attack connects, sending Shen flying and leaving him in pain. The system displays that he has lost 200 HP, then another 200 HP, while the boss appears pleased with his strike. As Shen struggles in agony, he suddenly remembers that this is the same skill the boss used earlier to defeat other players. But he doesn't have time to think, as he sees the boss charging at him again with great speed. The boss disappears once more, and Shen grits his teeth, realizing he needs to figure out the nature of the skill the boss is using to create a counterplay. Just then, he sees a large shadow appear behind him again and begins to understand that the boss might be using a skill called Blink or perhaps another skill like Teleport. It's the only explanation he can think of for how the boss is closing the distance without triggering the traps he set earlier. But it doesn't matter, as he's attacked again, losing 200 HP when the boss uses the skill once more, striking him while he's still mid-air from the first hit. Another 200 damage is dealt before the boss reappears in front of him, slamming him downward into the ground for yet another 200 damage. Shen crashes into the earth, creating a crater and a massive dust cloud, which adds an additional 200 damage to his already diminishing health. Shen sits up and rubs his head, gritting his teeth from the 4-hit combo the boss just unleashed on him. He grumbles about how the boss isn't giving him a moment to heal, coughing in pain as he tries to regain his focus. The system displays his HP, now down to 1670. But the boss doesn't care about Shen's thoughts, he only wants to defeat him. As Shen sits there rubbing his head, unaware, the boss reappears behind him, a smile spreading across his face. With a surge of excitement, he lunges forward, ready to attack again, thinking how this mere human dared to challenge him. But something unexpected happens as chains burst up from the ground, wrapping around the boss's arms. Confused, he looks around to see that he's standing in a glowing circle, his body bound by numerous chains holding him down. The system announces that the trap has been triggered. Shen bursts into laughter, commenting on how he figured out that the boss's skill is teleport. He praises the skill but notes that being a close combat type makes it a disadvantage for the boss. He continues, pulling back an arrow and taking aim with a smile. He explains that if he places a trap under himself, the boss will always trigger it when teleporting in for an attack, since he needs to get in close. With a grin, he releases the arrow, declaring that it's finally his turn to have fun. The arrow strikes the boss, dealing 196 damage, and the boss has no choice but to absorb the blow. The boss glares back at Shen, furious about the attack. He knows the trap can only hold him for about 4 seconds, after which the chains will be weak enough for him to break free. As he counts down the seconds, he feels the pressure of the bindings but remains resolute, fully aware that his HP is now 2,384. 4 seconds pass, and the boss smashes through the chains, dashing forward to attack Shen with his right claw. As Shen looks up at him, the boss's attack connects, dealing 800 damage and bringing Shen's HP down to 1670. The boss smiles triumphantly, thinking about how this human dared to believe he could hold the king of beasts down with such a weak skill. But Shen smiles at the boss, confidently stating that he knew the trap wouldn't hold for long. He just needed to figure out how long it would last. Now that he knows it's for seconds, he can execute his plan. Despite the pain he's in, he mocks the boss, asking what happened the first time he attacked him. He taunts the boss for not learning from that encounter, explaining how he let the boss strike him again to keep him still. With a snap of his fingers, he declares that he just needs 3 seconds to finish the job. Suddenly, two phantoms appear in the air above them, and one of them sets a trap, the system announcing that the trap has been set. Realizing the danger, the boss understands he needs to create some space between them. He quickly tosses Shen aside, knowing he must activate his skill immediately to escape the trap before it's too late. But just then, the system announces that the trap has been triggered. The boss's eyes widen in alarm as the chains and bindings spring to life, wrapping around him once more and sealing off his escape. He realizes too late that he has been caught in Shen's clever trap, and panic begins to set in as he struggles against the restraints. Shen realizes this is what he was waiting for. He commands the other phantoms to activate the 7-star flaming arrow. All 3 of them activate the skill simultaneously, their arrows glowing with fiery energy as they prepare to unleash the attack, aimed directly at the trapped boss. They fire all at once, transforming the 7-star flaming arrow attack into a 21-star flaming arrow attack. The glowing arrows streak toward the boss, and he realizes this might be it. He can't move for another 2 seconds. Panic surges as he braces for impact, knowing he's in serious trouble. A few moments before Shen's attack, the scene shifts to two players who have just arrived in the wolves area. They survey the landscape, one of them commenting that they can start gathering soon. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the area, visible from where they stand. One player blinks in shock and asks if the game has nukes in it, while the other responds that whoever caused that must be using a hack. The scene shifts back to the battle area, where Gu comes out of her hiding spot and approaches Shen, amazed that he was able to come up with such a clever plan. She stands next to him, complimenting him on how he has won, but it's clear that the boss isn't defeated yet. It still has 75 HP left and lies there, knocked out but not entirely out of the fight. But Shen ignores her and digs into more high-grade meat to heal from the battle. As he eats, he reflects on how 9 arrows missed the boss, realizing he could have dealt 3,000 damage if all the arrows had connected. He knows he needs to practice more with his phantoms, understanding that he got lucky this time against the boss. But Gu starts to talk again, and Shen finally decides to listen. She comments that he should finish off the boss already and complete the mission, pointing down at the defeated creature. Shen replies that there's no rush, as he still has something he needs to do. Gu, skeptical, doesn't believe him and thinks it's strange that he hasn't finished the hidden boss. She wonders what Shen is up to now. The scene shifts to the leader of the Green Snake Gang, who is still pretending to be defeated on the ground. He lays there, keeping his breathing steady, biding his time as he assesses the situation around him. He questions why everything has gone silent after the loud bang and wonders if Shen was defeated by that sound. Deciding it's best to play dead for a little longer, he stays still, waiting to see what happens next. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like. It really helps me out.